Child. I'm a rural resident of Benton County, and I'm involved with the. Oh, excuse me.
Provide your address.
Oh, I'm sorry. I hadn't heard it earlier. Another's 31540 Homestead Road in Philomath. Thank you, commissioners, for letting me comment again. As you know, I've been involved in the HCP process, and others have brought forward again today the legal and political ramifications of the process. I'd like to bring it back a little bit to the biological part. I also have some of these listed species on my property, or certainly the covered species in the HCP. I wanted to address not the HCP side of this endeavor, but the incidental take permit side of its endeavor, which the county has accepted millions of dollars to develop the HCP, and along with that, end up having an incidental take permit for their activities on their lands, for their permitting process, for activities that they permit in Benton County, and for cooperators such as cities, municipalities, utilities, etc. Their permittees, as the HCP developed, that they would accept under, I forget what the term is, whereby a private landowner could be issued an incidental take permit under the county's permit. The quantification of take was done based on the number of rural properties that existed, both that would be affected, both rural and in the urban growth boundary. It also took into account the projected take of all the cooperators. We see now that that quantification, which is based on a geographical map, which became the blue zone, the Finder's Blue Overlay Zone, is now kind of in question. And part of the HCP is actually the planning now. And the reason I came in today was the Development Department is proposing to remove the overlay zone. So the end result is that rural landowners, perhaps those in the urban growth boundaries of Corvallis and Philomath, will not know whether or not their activity might constitute might involve take of any of the covered species and the listed species. So I really don't know where this is going. There's no assurance for the landowners whether or not, if you're a resident, whether you fall in the blue zone or not, because it will no longer be transparent. It will be decided by the county or by the feds again. And whether or not there'll be adequate take once you get around to your planned activity. I do see, and am very concerned that right now, even though the HCP was developed to allow for a certain amount of take, and figured out where on the map that was going to occur, what the geographical limits were of that, and that's all been there's a limit, and you've already had applicants coming forward to you saying, well, our property was subdivided after a certain date, and so there will be 3 parcels, and so the calculation of take is different. There's definitely moving goalposts here that are not providing surety to either rural landowners, private landowners, other interests in the county, how many more butterflies we can take, how much we can mitigate for that take. And I'm very concerned that the process is evolving right now where we just see interested development parties coming up to the feeding trough here. So I'm sorry I wasn't very clear, but if you have any questions.
I have a question for
Yes.
you, Jim. So what I'm hearing, and correct me if I'm wrong, what I'm hearing is that there has to be something in the development code that talks about that, and where you would be looking at where a take permit would be and what the numbers would be and all those kinds of things. Is that what I'm hearing? I'm not sure if I understood you.
Well, it comes from both ends. I don't know how Fish and Wildlife Service is going to be able to quantify where take is occurring, where they're permitting it, where they're allowing it to occur in the future over the
So
course
you're
of the
asking
next
for
50 years.
a clear definition of that is what you're asking.
And certainly the landowners in the county do. At the same time, I know the county is looking at developing riparian rules based with a riparian overlay. That is going to have the same sort of questions.
Mm-hmm.
Does the overlay exist or does it not? What does it provide the county? What does it provide county citizens?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Is there anyone else?